Namaste, what is up, astrology adventurers? Well, one thing that's on my mind is that Jupiter is now in the sign of Gemini, and a lot to discuss with that one. So let's dive in. I'm Paul Manley, and you're watching Light on Vedic Astrology. Okay, so here's the rundown. May 14th, 10:07 Pacific time, Jupiter transits into the sign of Gemini, where it will stay pretty much for a whole year. And I say pretty much because it does a quick transit, 5-month transit until October 18th through the sign of Gemini, then transits into Cancer, where it will stay for 3 weeks before it goes retrograde on November 11th. And then on December 5th, it is back in the sign of Gemini. So after about, 6 weeks in the sign of Cancer, Jupiter's back in Gemini, where it will stay for another 6 months till June 2nd. So we get a quick peek into what Jupiter will bring in the sign of Cancer. So it's like a preview, you might say. But there's also this phenomenon of Jupiter's transit being so fast, 5 months through a sign, whereas normally it takes a whole year to transit all the way through from 0 degrees to 30 degrees of a sign. So this is called atichara, which means fast movement. And that can be less impactful. It can be kind of like a disappointment for people looking forward to this transit of Jupiter into Gemini. It can be like, oh, it's already come and gone. So it can't have the same level of impact if there's not time to do its work, you might say. So it's a bit, you might say, feeble or weak when it's moving fast like this. We want the transits to be slow and hang around for an extended period of time. That's when it can really do their magic. But let's just talk about simply what does it mean to have Jupiter transiting through a sign 5 months? Hey, I'll take it, right? I mean, I'm sure you will too. This is Jupiter of all planets. This is the great benefic. Jupiter, when it transits into a new sign, it brings possibilities and opportunities. It opens things up. It broadens horizons. So Jupiter is Ganga Jal. It's the sprinkling of the water of the Ganga, which is like sprinkling blessings. So its transit makes things happen in a positive way, a beneficial way, progressing things forward that may have been stuck, opening up new possibilities that you haven't even imagined. So Jupiter represents this expansion, this growth potential, this reaching towards more and higher and towards inspiration. What is our higher, meaning our most inspired thoughts? So Jupiter is our best friend, you might say, to make things happen. Like we've been waiting. Jupiter's transit comes along and boom, things can happen. So this is the good news. I mean, 5 months in Gemini, yeah, I'd like it to be longer. I mean, it is longer. There is a full 6 months on the back end from December 5th until June 2nd. So, and that would be a little bit slower, but still, it's a fast transit. Still, Jupiter also brings learning and wisdom. So wherever Jupiter transits, the sign that it is placed in, now it's in Gemini. So Jupiter being a planet being the uh, the actor on the stage, is wearing the costume of Gemini. So Jupiter is a planet of learning, and but especially wisdom. So the sign of Gemini is represents knowledge. Also, they both represent knowledge. Jupiter and, well, Mercury, the ruler of Gemini. The sign of Gemini represents information, right? So abundance of information. This is Mercury's sign that represents the breadth of knowledge, breadth of information, the variety, the diversity of information. In contrast to Mercury's other sign, the sign of Virgo, which represents the depth of knowledge. So Virgo, being an earth sign, represents taking knowledge and making it practical and going deeper into that. So that's a sign of Virgo. But Gemini, you might say, is all over the place. It's a sign of scattered interests and curiosities and about all kinds of ideas. So Gemini is the sign of ideas, information, curiosity about information, ideas. But Jupiter represents wisdom. So you could say Jupiter is like the ninth house of principles, ethics, morals, wisdom, higher knowledge that helps us grow spiritually. Whereas Gemini, the opposite sign of Sagittarius, the ninth sign in the zodiac, ruled by Jupiter. The third sign, the sign of Gemini, represents information for whatever purpose. So this is a sign of adaptability and versatility. So utilizing knowledge in various capacities. Jupiter is interested in the higher knowledge. So this is the blending, you might say. This is the chemistry experiment of Jupiter's transit into Gemini. It wears that you might say it's a bit uncomfortable, right? Because Jupiter likes depth and of knowledge. Jupiter wants to bring that into reality, higher knowledge, whereas Gemini is scattered all over the place. So and curious of many things. So in the end result could be one of dynamic tension between Jupiter and Gemini, meaning that on one hand, Jupiter as the ruler of the ninth sign represents Dharma, higher principles, right? So what we feel called to do, what we are inspired to do, whereas Gemini is, as the third sign, represents what we want to do, what we desire doing. There's no value judgment. They're both useful. But this is the dynamic tension between the two. Jupiter wants to go towards progress, whereas, if we're binge watching a Netflix series, yeah, it may be interesting, but we may not really feel on purpose. Jupiter is interested in that purpose, our passion, doing something for a good reason, not wasting time. So this is the dynamic tension between Jupiter and Gemini. So Jupiter can open up new possibilities of learning and learning opportunities, possibilities. But also, this is a social sign. This is interactive. It's a sign of communication. So Jupiter, just simply as the principle of expansion, can expand ideas, knowledge, the communicating through the written or spoken word, which is what Gemini is all about, communicating ideas, sharing ideas. So this social element, Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is social. It's an interpersonal planet. Jupiter is considered transpersonal. So there's another dynamic tension between Jupiter and Gemini. Does that mean they're at odds with one another? What I would say is that this can make it difficult. It can be kind of like the idea of, I want to believe in a higher principle, but I keep analyzing and questioning everything. That's the sign of Gemini. So I don't get locked into one. The sign of Sagittarius is fundamental, fundamentalist. Like really, like it's a sign of righteousness. Like this is the right thing, the moral thing. Gemini is opposite that, right? So it represents the breadth, the variety, the diversity. So doesn't want to be locked into a belief system, which Jupiter can represent. Or Mercury, this is the sign of the jack of all trades, the jack of all ideas. So no settled philosophy, you might say, or discipline that Jupiter can represent. So, but this can, on a positive note, this can be the bridging of spirituality and information, or of science, between logic, and Jupiter represents faith, believing something. The sign of Gemini is a sign of logic. So this is the intellect. So using the intellect for blending the intellect or science, scientific ideas with spiritual beliefs. So this is another way that these get blended. But suffice it to say, just Jupiter transiting into Gemini opens things up socially, intellectually, and this is a good thing. And whatever sign, whatever house that this Jupiter is transiting through in Gemini will also represent an area of life. If the planet is the actor on the stage and the sign is the costume, well, then the house is the stage set. It's where it's located. It's the area of life. So that means if Jupiter is transiting through your seventh house, which is a sign of Gemini, well, you can bet that's going to open up your social life, your relationships, your could be romantic relationship. It could just mean your social life also. So likewise, if it's your 10th house, your Virgo ascendant, and Jupiter is transiting your 10th house, the sign of Gemini, well, obviously, this is also going to expand possibilities and opportunities professionally. Jupiter's always going to bring growth. That's its main purpose. So a few ideas, and we'll stop here. And I look forward to our next video coming soon. Namaste.